Let's now welcome Mr. Benoit Le Roy, who's the CEO of the SA Water Chamber. Benoit, it's always a pleasure. So welcome to SA Today. So a statement that I'm sure you've heard also by Watercan raising some serious alarm over the Gauteng provinces, specifically in the West Rand, over their failure to meet the basic microbiological water quality standards, and also pointing to alarming presence of E. coli as well as other pollutants. Are these non-compliance events isolated or part of a recurring trend, do you think, sir?
Hi, Alicia, and to the watchers today. Look, if you look at the Integrated Regulatory Information System, IRIS, which is the Department of Water Sanitation's website, yesterday's samples show they don't comply. And they, in actual fact, they don't comply from a microbiological perspective, so the E. coli measurement, but also in disinfectant, there's 0%. So if there's no disinfectant in the system, they receive the water in good quality from rainwater, so the treatment is not the problem. But the municipality has to boost the disinfectant within the system because the residual chlorine that we need to keep microbiological activity down is in actual fact required for a period of time because we store water for a day or 2 days in the reservoirs. So the municipality's own reports are showing that there's no disinfectant. So I'm not surprised that there's potential of microbiological activity, although it is cool at the moment, so you wouldn't expect it, but there is ingress of biological material. So the E. coli tests look like they're right. I would suggest that Watercan take samples with the municipality, split them and send them to 2 different accredited laboratories to back these up, but the regulator says they don't comply.
Very interesting indeed there, Benoit. Maybe just outline the issue of compliance for us, because Watercan says Gauteng's compliance rate is just 97.8%, which is well below that of the national level that should be 99% at national threshold.
Yeah, it should be 99.9. On the IRIS site that I have in front of me now, and we don't comply, and we haven't complied this week, overall. So there's only Lesedi and Merafong who comply as of the samples of yesterday. Well, the data that was uploaded yesterday. Mm-hmm. So the samples are probably 3-4 days, old. So this is government's own monitoring and regulatory system that says we don't comply. So we should be running around and getting boil notices, etc. In most of Gauteng, there's obviously an issue, but we need to have detail behind this. We need to have the spokesperson from Department of Water Sanitation address us and let us know that it's acknowledged and what's being done about it before we have another Hammanskraal disaster on our hands.
Absolutely, Benoit, because I was just about to say, why is there lack of public health advisories to alert us if the need arises? But then, so what does the presence, Benoit, of such pollutants like E. coli actually mean, especially if they're making their way right into our taps? As you know, most households still largely drink directly from the tap, as we are assured that we have some of the safest drinking water. So what are the short and long-term risks as well as dangers of the presence of such pollutants being found in our consumable water supply, sir?
So if you look at Rand Water abstracts from the Vaal Dam and from the Vaal River upstream, etc., and they treat, and their results are available publicly, and they comply to SANS 241, which is our potable water standard. The municipalities take that water and then have to keep the disinfectant in the system. When they do repairs in the system, what they need to do after leaks and maintenance, they need to flush the system and then and then make sure, and then test and make sure that the water complies. Because when you work in the system, you can get ingress of let's say of pollutants. Now, E. coli is an indicator of fecal matter. So this means that there is potentially pathogens in the water, and it could be a wide range, but it is an indicator of fecal matter. E. coli itself, not necessarily toxic, but it's the indicator that there is fecal matter. Now, why there's fecal matter in there is only the municipality can answer this. It's probably a lot of breaks in the system. We know that non-revenue water is very high, physical leaks, etc. So what happens is pipes will suck in. When there's high demand, what will happen is if there's cracks in the system through vacuum, they could suck in pollutants from the ground, from polluted water reserve next door, etc. So it's a distribution issue, and it's totally in the control, of the municipalities. And 99.9% is the amount. So out of every 100 samples, 99.9. So nearly 100 samples have to comply to have zero E. coli in there. E. coli we saw is a very good indicator. It's used globally. It's not as if South Africa is special or we're doing something different. It is the indicator. We have a problem and we need to address it, and we need to address it very quickly, because the problem's been in there, I suspect, for at least a week.
Benoit, I'm sure you saw the package preceding our interview. Even residents there saying that, of course, they're seeing a lot of the change in the water quality, specifically after there's been a water shutdown. I mean, we know that we're still here in Gauteng, still undergoing a water maintenance update. So are these failures then to detect as well as manage harmful pollutants in our water supply just technical oversight or sheer negligence, you think? And why is there lack then, once again, of public health advisories in order to alert us if the need arises, as well as to maintain that public trust?
Well, firstly, our system is broken, and Johannesburg is the perfect storm of a broken distribution system. And it took 30, 40 years to get there. It didn't take 3 or 4 years. So it's a slow onset. You don't really notice it until it really hits home, as it has now. So it's an oversight thing. It's an operational issue. It's a skills issue. And quite honestly, it's a governance issue, and we don't see the oversight that we're supposed to have. There's a lot of people trying to do the right work, but unfortunately, we can see Johannesburg's an absolute mess at the moment with water, electricity, with outages. And what happens is that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because the more it breaks down, the more you have to flush the system, the more ingress of pollutants, and you're really chasing your tail, So it's... you really need the best. We need the best skills that we can find in the world to come and help and rescue us in this water situation.
Absolutely.
It's quite dire.
Absolutely, Benoit, because there's so many things that are coming up now. There was even rumors of suspected or traces of ARVs within the water supply. But look, is it a fact then that the microbiological compliance is constantly below the national threshold in some provinces, especially here in Gauteng? And what are the corrective measures that are needed then to necessarily deal with these compliance issues? I saw the MEC there drinking straight from the tap. It's not advisable, because we saw an Indian minister there drank directly from the river to show its safety, and he fell sick shortly afterwards.
Yes, well, let's speak to him tomorrow morning, and hopefully he's not sitting on the loo, after drinking that. Or maybe he's got a good constitution. Some of us are stronger than others, but the average person is not made to withstand this. Look, it's a governance issue. We should have the skills available within our country. It's not something that is that difficult to do. It's a governance issue. It has to be a priority issue. We allowed electricity to sort of self-implode, and that's fairly easy to fix. Water is very different. It's a health issue, and water is not on-off. It takes a while for it to actually for the quality to deteriorate. It takes a while to flush systems. It takes a while to rebuild systems. Johannesburg's looking for 3.2 billion rand just for its water distribution network, and for its water systems in all, it needs about 32.5 billion rand to reinstate them. So that money hasn't come through. That's the first thing. And secondly, we haven't started. So the outlying municipalities have even less resources. And so what we're seeing, I think, at the moment is that systems starting to implode, and Rand Water provides water that complies, and it's quite transparent in that. So the problem is actually not in the treatment, it's in the distribution and the oversight within that. And, if you have potholes, the broken window policy applies. If you've got potholes, believe me, your water electricity infrastructure is not up to scratch. So we need to up our game. It's our country, it's our municipalities, our infrastructure, we pay for it. We need to ensure a society that we hold government accountable. Civil servants are there to serve the civil population. They must serve us. And we can only enforce it ourselves. We've got legislation and policies that just been upgraded, etc. It makes no difference. So we have to enforce what we have, and our systems are actually quite good. So I think we can turn it around quite quickly. Maybe we need to look at what Argentina did And it happened very quickly, and we can turn this mess around.
And speaking of accountability there, how though, in which ways, Benoit? Because I'm sure you heard even the municipality there acceding to the fact that it could be third-party contamination. So they're basically the ones that need to be at the forefront of ensuring safe as well as drinkable water. But how do we as the public demand that accountability?
Well, firstly, we must do it peacefully. So, I'm not alluding to anything that's not peaceful at all. We need to do it as peaceful as possible. We need to have our voices heard. I think the media is a very important tool, in doing this. And, 10, 15 years ago, a lot of us were starting to raise the issues and weren't heard. It is being heard, and so we have made progress from that perspective. But unfortunately, it takes disasters and catastrophes like Hammanskraal to reawaken society and to awaken government and to hold people accountable. We've got to be proactive. So we need active citizenry. We have some, we don't have enough. And we need to be active and hold government to account. And if we don't like our government, what we need to do is to replace it with government that will do the work that we have elected them, to do. So it's a democratic process that is really not evolving fast enough. And we see it in water as a symptom of governance lapses and collapses. So we really need to work on it, because I think the patience is running thin, when it comes to employers and factories and shopping centers. You can't go off grid with water like you can electricity. So we have to sort it out. We have to put pressure onto our local government, our provincial government, and national government. And national government is trying, but it's very difficult with the separation of local government in the constitution from national government. So the Cocteau story, it's very difficult for them to impose themselves, and national government doesn't have the capacity to take over all the municipalities anyway. So it's a bit of a conundrum. Absolutely.
Oh, wow. Benoit, thank you so much for engaging with us this afternoon. That is Mr. Benoit Le Roy. There is the CEO of the South African Water Chamber, weighing in there on, of course, allegations of the presence of pollutants like E. coli in tap water, particularly in Gauteng's West Rand.